Welcome back to the Robert Stone Club channel. Today's explainer requires our immediate and undivided attention. Look, we are dissecting an ongoing cyber exploit right now, one that's actively targeting self-hosted Bitcoin infrastructure all over the globe. This isn't just some theoretical white paper exercise, it's a live intrusion vector. It is actively compromising the systems that merchants and node operators rely on every single day. When we talk about self-hosted infrastructure, we're really talking about the very backbone of sovereign finance. Operators and merchants hold substantial capital in these environments, acting as their own banks to process payments without any intermediaries. But that sovereignty, it comes with immense responsibility. And right now, the gates to those private vaults are being tested by some very sophisticated actors. Let's dive right into the anatomy of this breach and see exactly how this vital infrastructure is being compromised. A recent report from Decrypt issued a stark warning regarding the widely used open-source payment processor BTC Pay Server, highlighting what they specifically termed a critical flaw. What makes this report so incredibly urgent is the clinical reality of the situation on the ground. According to Decrypt's findings, this vulnerability is not just a bug waiting to be patched. It is, quote, under active attack. We're looking at a sustained, ongoing campaign here. Unidentified actors are systematically probing for and exploiting this exact weakness in the wild as we speak. They're actively scanning the internet, looking for any merchant or individual running vulnerable versions of this software, silently searching for an open window right into the network.
Now, we need to be absolutely clear about the motive here. This is not your run-of-the-mill token scam, nor is it a mass-distributed phishing link promising some unrealistic yield in exchange for your seed phrase. No, this is a highly targeted, surgical infrastructure attack. These intruders aren't looking to socially engineer you or trick you into signing a malicious transaction. They are quietly bypassing the front door altogether. Their goal is to extract specific server credentials directly from merchant servers. They literally want the administrative keys to the kingdom. By leveraging this specific software flaw, they completely bypass user interaction, slipping right through the digital cracks to seize the hidden authentication files that keep these financial engines running. To truly understand the gravity of this situation, we have to look at what the attackers are actually stealing once they breach that server. Investigators at CoinDesk report that the ultimate prize here is access to the LND, the Lightning Network Daemon. The LND is essentially the core software engine that manages a user's Lightning wallet. It handles the intricate routing of payments and the really delicate balance of open payment channels. CoinDesk notes that securing these LND credentials is the primary objective for the attackers because it grants them direct, unfettered control over the victim's Lightning funds. Think about it. When someone controls your LND, they control the very mechanism that moves your Bitcoin. They can close channels, reroute liquidity, and effectively drain a node's operational capital before the legitimate owner even realizes a breach has occurred. It's a devastating level of access.
Section 1. Anatomy of the exploit. Step-by-step breach. The reports outline a chillingly efficient 5-step intrusion vector. Step 1. Vulnerability discovery. The attacker quietly locates a public-facing BTC Pay server running outdated software. This is often an entirely automated process, just silently scanning the web for nodes broadcasting an old software version. Step 2 is exploitation. Once a target is found, they leverage that known critical flaw with surgical precision to breach the server's outer defenses. Then, Step 3, as CoinDesk heavily detailed in their reporting, credential theft. The attackers meticulously dig into the server's backend to extract the LND keys and authentication files. They aren't smashing and grabbing. They're precisely lifting the exact data required to mimic the owner. Step 4, wallet takeover. Armed with these stolen keys, the attacker connects to the victim's LND node from an external location, masquerading perfectly as the legitimate owner. And finally, Step 5, fund extraction. The devastating finality of the attack. The intruders rapidly close active payment channels and sweep the unlocked Bitcoin right into a wallet under their sole control. It's a methodical, almost invisible heist from start to finish.
Section 2. Identifying operational red flags, system vulnerabilities. And real quick, before we pivot to these systemic vulnerabilities, please subscribe and hit like for more crypto investigations. The reports from both CoinDesk and Decrypt highlight a really crucial truth here. A successful breach is rarely just about the initial software flaw. It's almost always compounded by operational security failures that allow the flaw to be weaponized in the first place. Let's break down the 5 critical red flags. First up, running outdated software. This is the primary open door. Operators get complacent, treating their nodes like a set-and-forget appliance rather than a live financial server. Second, ignoring security bulletins. Official sources like BTC Pay regularly issue warnings, but if operators aren't actively monitoring these channels, they entirely miss the call to action until it's way too late. Third is exposed server ports. Too many nodes leave administrative or database ports open to the wider internet when they absolutely don't need to be, giving attackers completely unnecessary avenues to probe. Fourth, poor credential management. This specifically refers to failing to secure sensitive LND authentication files, which are known as macarons. If these files aren't encrypted or properly isolated, an attacker who breaches the outer shell gets an immediate free pass to the funds. And fifth, a total lack of system monitoring. Without alerts for unusual login attempts or unexpected channel closures, an attacker can infiltrate, execute their commands, and extract funds while the operator remains completely unaware, sometimes for days.
Section 3. The defense in depth. Institutional security.
Now, we need to dig into the philosophy of institutional-grade security architectures. These are what experienced node operators utilize to ensure these specific breaches actually fail. The core tenet here is fund segregation. A BT Pay server, by its very nature of needing to process live transactions on the internet, is inherently a hot wallet. It's public, it's perpetually connected, and therefore it is perpetually vulnerable to emerging zero-day exploits. Smart money dictates that a hot wallet must hold only the operational liquidity strictly necessary to maintain day-to-day payment channels. Contrast this inherent anxiety of a public-facing system with the psychological safety of cold storage. Cold storage is offline. It is air-gapped, entirely secure, and mathematically and physically disconnected from the internet. Attackers literally can't hack a piece of hardware that isn't plugged in. This is where the vast majority of long-term savings must reside. Relying entirely on a public-facing server's software to protect all of your assets is just a critical failure in risk management. The defense-in-depth strategy means accepting that the outer wall, the hot wallet, might one day be breached, and ensuring that if it is, the resulting damage is contained to a small operational loss rather than a total catastrophic wipeout.
Section 4. Securing your infrastructure. Lock down your node.
This brings us to the precise tactical steps you must take right now to lock down your own hardware. We're relaying explicit remediation guidance issued directly by BT Pay server and urgently echoed by investigators at both CoinDesk and Decrypt. Step 1. Update your server software to the latest patched version immediately. If you cannot update right now, take the server completely offline until you can. Step 2, and this is absolutely critical, Decrypt's report specifically stresses the need to replace any credentials that may have been exposed during the window of vulnerability. You must rotate all API keys, change your administrative passwords, and generate completely fresh L&D macaroon files. If an attacker already copied your old macaroons, simply patching the software won't lock them out. Rotating the credentials revokes their stolen access. Step 3. Subscribe to official security channels and set up email notifications so you're never caught off guard again. Step 4. Implement strict firewalls. Close all unnecessary ports and restrict access to administrative interfaces via VPNs or localized IP whitelisting. And Step 5, enforce that fund segregation. Move any excess capital out of your routing channels and into cold storage immediately.
The mechanics of this exploit are clear, and the remediation steps are laid out right in front of you. But the overarching theme we must take away from this explainer is the unforgiving nature of self-custody. Being your own bank is a continuous, active process, not a one-time setup. The threat landscape in self-hosted infrastructure is constantly evolving, and sophisticated attackers are always probing for the next weak link. The moment you become complacent, you become a target. Look closely at your own setup right now, review your security practices, and ask yourself a very difficult question. Is your node's operational security a sitting target for the next zero-day exploit?